Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhisham Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Bandeham Shri Gurun Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnava Mamsa Tripam Shagrajatam Shagnara Gunadhan Vitam Tam Sajiyam Sadvaitam Saudhutam Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagna Lalita Shri Vishakha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांतो राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कंचना गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय पंचकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने नामस्ते सारस्वती देव गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवाणी पाश्चात्यशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसति गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। कलयुग पावन धर्म हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। इसकॉन फाउंडर आचार्य ही दिव्यांग शशि भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय गुरुदेव महाराज की जय। निताई गौरा प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि। Hare Krishna. So let's see how many devotees are here right now. Okay, Hare Krishna. So we'll start our discussion and devotee will join as we go along. So thank you so much. So we have been studying Nectar of Instruction, very powerful verses. And today we are going to basically do the last verse. And then if there is some time left, we'll just have some discussion on any one of the verse that we have talked so far. And then next Saturday, I would like to basically summarize and also talk a little bit about the exam. Or maybe today we can talk when will be the best time for all of us to get the NOI exam done. Or maybe we can do next Saturday and then we can start reading Nectar of Devotion. So, as we have been talking, uh, this Upadesamrita is based upon discussion of Mahaprabhu to Sri Rupa Goswami. And as we are going along, we are seeing how it's building up, especially how it's building up the mood of a devotee in their devotional journey. So uh, we are today going to study very much the last verse. The previous two verses that we studied, verse number 9, was giving us the comparative study that how Sri Radha Kund is the holiest spot, starting from material world to so many other planets that exist, going up to Vaikuntha, and then Mathura, and then Govardhan. After Mathura, Vrindavan, then Govardhan in Vrindavan, and then the foothills of Govardhan, uh, Radha Kund. Radha Kund is the holiest spot. And then verse number 10, we talked about how dear is Srimati Radharani to Krishna. So out of all the places, Radha Kunda is the holiest. And then we talked about devotees and also different degree of consciousness, hierarchy of the consciousness. And we saw some slides that how consciousness build up, starting from very little symptom of consciousness, which starts with the plant, and then slowly and slowly it comes to the stage where uh, one is in a stage of prema bhakti, pure devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then after that, out of all pure devotees, the gopis and manjaris, they are the higher. And out of all gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. So verse number 9 and 10 is giving us the understanding that Radha Kund and Srimati Radharani, they are most dear to Lord Krishna. So today we are basically, this is the ultimate verse from Nectar of Instruction, which is going to talk about taking bath in Radha Kund and residing at the bank of Radha Kund and taking shelter of Srimati Radharani. So before I get into discussion, let me first read the verse. I think I have another slide where I wanted to basically give some background, but let me go through this verse first, and then I'll start giving some understanding around this verse. कृष्णस्य उच्चहे प्रणयावसतिः प्रिया असि भयो अपि राधा कुन्दं चास्य मुनिभिरभितास् तादृगैव व्यधायये यत् पृष्ठैरपि आलम् असुलभं किं पुनर्भक्ति भजाम् तत्प्रेमाइदं सकृद् अपि sarahasana aviskaroti. So very beautiful verse. Krishnasya uchahe pranaya vasatihi priyasi bhayo api radha. So of the many objects that can attract Krishna, Krishnasya uchahe, many objects that can attract Lord. Pranaya vasati, the love that gopis have for Krishna is the topmost object of attraction for Krishna. And out of them, Priyasi Abhayo Api Radha, out of all the Priyashi, out of all the lovers of Lord, Srimati Radharani is the most treasured object of Krishna's love. So that's the meaning of first line. Kundam chasya munibhiravitas tadrid eva vyadhayayi. Likewise, similarly, chasya, her kundam, chasya kundam, her kunda, is the most attractive to Lord, and it is revealed, it is described, Vyadhayayi, means it has been given in full description by all the saintly person. So all the saintly person is approving and telling us that this Radha Kund is the most dear object to Lord Hari, Lord Sri Krishna. Yat prastherapi alam asulabham kim punar bhakti bhajam. And this Radha Kund, prasther api alam asulabham. Prasther means personalities who are very high in their consciousness. Api alam asulabham. For them also, it's asulabham. It's not easily obtained. Kim punar bhakti bhajam. Then what to talk about some of the ordinary being. That's the meaning of the third line. Yet prastherapi alam asulabham kim punar bhakti bhajam. Then what to talk about the ordinary being. Radha Kund is rarely attained even by the advanced soul, prema bhaktas. And Prabhupada had the purport writing about Sanat Kumar and Narad Muni and other personality. they they can't have, they can't obtain Radha Kunda. So why to talk about uh, ordinary devotee? Now, why I'm talking about these things? We'll talk. We'll try to give some understanding. Oh, Vrindavan, anybody can go, and anybody can, see Radha Kund, and anyone can take bath in Radha Kund. Then why Rupa Goswami is saying here that this is rarely obtained even by great personalities, great prema bhaktas. Then what to talk about ordinary person? That premam idam sakrid api sharha sanatur aviskaroti. So even once sakrid, even once one will take bath api sharha in that lake, the lake of Radha Kund. Sanatur means taking bath. All the contamination will be uh, all the contamination will be wiped out, and devotee will come to the stage of prema, pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead will arouse by taking bath in Srimati Radhakund. So that's the basically uh, word by word meaning of this particular verse. Krishna uchah pranyavasitah priyasi bhayo api radha kundam chasya muni bhiravitas tadri iva vyadhayayi yat prasthairapi alam asulabham kim punar bhakti bhajam tat premaidam shakrid api sharah sanatur aviskaroti. So api sharah sanatur aviskaroti. By taking bath in that lake of Radha Kund, Shakrid even once, all the contamination will be taken out, will be wiped out, and pure love for Srimati Radharani and Lord will arouse. Wow, such a beautiful verse. This is the ultimate, verse of Nectar of Instruction. So before we try to understand last 2 or 3 verses that we have been studying, those verses are very deep. Things could have some literal word by word meaning, but the same statement can have also multiple levels of understanding or multi layers of embedded understanding in a particular statement that even I can hear or even I can see. So to make the point clear or to put some weight with these statements, we have to also see that what exactly these verses are doing to us, what type of information we are getting here. And in previous class, Sri Radhe Mataji asked a very beautiful question that why we are talking this subject here in Nectar of Instruction. And I said, because this gives us a process. So I wanted to basically give you this slide that will give us the idea that what we are talking about. So in NOI, we have 11 verses. And these verses are basically giving a pathway of devotional milestone, of devotional journey. It's giving us a path. And why this path is given to us, to the people who are not even qualified to understand the embedded, deeper meaning of these verses. So, these 11 verses are giving us the progressive stages of the bhakti. And we had talked before also, I showed you one slide, that these stages can have three categories: sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. But here, to make it even more simpler, we can put them in two categories: sadhana bhakti and then bhava and prema bhakti. So under sadhana bhakti, we have Badhi bhakti, where do's and don'ts, avoid and adopts. So we have been seeing in the slide, avoid, what are the things that we should not do, and what are the things that we should do. So that's basically Badhi bhakti. So verse number 1 to 7 of Nectar of Instruction basically is giving a pathway for Badhi sadhaka, what to do, what not to do, developing the taste, for holy name. Why we don't have taste for the holy name, how to see devotees, what are different types of devotees, all of that we studied. And then verse number 8 gives a transition. And that's basically ragatmika bhav. And we studied in that verse that whatever raga, whatever type of attachment, and we talked about different types of rasa, starting with Shantarasa, then Dasharasa, Shakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Those are Ragatmika Bhakti. So in verse number 8, we studied that whatever raga one has, one should find a advanced devotee who is practicing Krishna consciousness in that particular raga, and then a rag, and then surrender to that person. And under the instruction of that person, one should act to elevate their consciousness in particular raga, in particular rag. So that's basically giving us a transition after Bhadi Bhakti, transitioning to the Ragatmika Bhakti. And then Bhava and Prema comes. So verse number 9 to 11, 9, 10, and 11, talking about Srimati Radharani and talking about her Radha Kund, talking about her love for Krishna, residing, taking bath in Radha Kund. All of these topics that we have been discussing, it's under the category of Bhava and Prema. So question comes, which I started before but didn't answer. Why we have to talk this? So this is only mercy. This is only mercy of Mahaprabhu. And we can't appreciate exactly because we don't even know what the topic is being spoken here. What's the topic being discussed here? We can say these words, bhava and prema, but there is no themes of understanding what exactly bhava or what exactly prema is. But Rupa Goswami, based upon his discussion with Mahaprabhu, he is giving us this pathway under the instruction of Mahaprabhu, so that if a person in the material world has desire to proceed and go higher on their consciousness, they can see where they stand and where they have to go. And that was the purpose of verse number 5, where we studied about different types of person, different types of devotee, their particular symptoms, and then how they can transition and go to the higher stage. So this is nothing but just the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Namo Mahavadannaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate. So we don't have qualification. And why I'm trying to emphasize that particular segment of the statement, because when you are trying to understand these things, when I'm trying to explain these things, you will find that there is some coherent inconsistency, or you will find some sort of lackness. You will find something missing. If you are not finding that something missing, that means we are not even able to forecast, we are not even able to, assume that what topic we are talking about. So you will feel that one way there is some literal statement that is being spoken here, but on the same side, there is another deeper understanding that's going in parallel, which can't be expressed, can't be described by word. So that understanding has to be there. You and I are talking a very, very exalted subject matter, but at the same time, these things have to be expressed by word. But words cannot express the deeper realizations or feeling that carries with that particular statement. And that is why it's very important to study these things under the guidance. That's why, that's what the meaning of our disciplic succession is, that whatever understanding, we have, we should share and also give both perspective. I don't want to confuse you, but try to stay with me a little bit. Give both perspective, one perspective that appears simple in a very simple way. On the other hand, carry that another stream of thought that is much, much deeper than it appears to be, okay? So with that background, if we try to understand verse number 9, 10, and 11, then we'll relish it. We'll find substance in it. We'll find hope in it. We'll find what it we are missing and where it we have to go. But if we just take the very literal meaning of these statements, then it will be very shallow understanding. Okay, so I wanted to give some of these kind of thought process to go through the next slide and build our understanding, because you'll see what are the statements being made here, and I'm sure there should be some discussion once we get through these slides. So some of the key highlights based upon the purport of His Divine Grace Prabhupada, we'll see what Prabhupada is saying. So Sri Radha Kund, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur writes in this connection that Radha Kund is the most select place for those interested in advancing their devotional service in the wake of the lady friends and confidential serving maid of Srimati Radharani. So that statement itself is very deep. Okay, but let's get through it. The statement that's being made by here, that Radha Kund is, of course, most prominent place, but it's only for the people who are interested in advancing their devotional service in Ragatmika Bhav, either in the mood of gopis or confidential servants of Srimati Radharani's, which are called Manjaris. So right away, it gets into Ragatmika Bhakti. Completely Badi Bhakti is wiped out. So living in Radha Kund and at the bank of Radha Kund and having, let me go through this one, then I'll come to this point. So that thing should be noted, that the Ragatmika Bhav is what being emphasized there. Sri Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot live permanently on the banks of Radhakund, one should take a bath in the lake as many times as possible. This is the most important item in the execution of devotional service. Okay, that is also on Ragatmika stage. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes that even a great sage and great devotee like Narad and Sanaka do not get an opportunity to come to Radha Kund to take their bath. What then to speak of ordinary devotees? Those who are eager to return to Goloka in their spiritual bodies, Siddha should live at Radha Kund and take shelter of the confidential serving maids of Sri Radha and serve her under their direction. So consistently you can see in the purport, it's being emphasized that one has to have the bhav of gopis or Radharani's servant to reside on the bank of Radha Kund. Then by doing the devotional service under the guidance of under the mood or keeping the bhav of gopis and manjaris, one can transcend to attaining the prema. Sri Radha Kund comprises of the water of nectarian prema. One will obtain that topmost prema by transcendently residing. The word here says transcendently residing aprakritya vasa on its bank, aloof from all material desires. Okay, so not prakrit vas. Vas means dharana, reside in residence. Not a prakrit vas. The person who is there, they should be transcendently residing aprakrit vas on its bank and free from all material desires. So with material desires, even if one live on the bank of Radha Kund, one may not get that ultimate benefit. And then also the bathing, also the bathing also is saying transcendently bathing aprakrit asnana in its water and performing deep meditational worship, manasa bhajan of Srimati Radha. So very exalted bhava, both residing should be aprakritya and taking bath also should be aprakritya. Living at Radha Kund, the pure spirit soul should externally take constant shelter of the Hari Nam. So we also studied in the previous verses that sometimes in Ragatmika stage of devotion, one may not necessarily be following the limbs of Navadha Bhakti, 9 limbs of the 9 aspects or 9 elements of the Sadhana Bhakti. But also one can, even in Ragatmika stage, can follow the those 9 elements of devotional service. So here it's being said that externally one should constant take shelter of Harinam. And we recently had disappearance day of Srila Haridas Thakur. Srila Haridas Thakur was a completely, Siddha person. He was Siddha Purush. His bhakti was not Vadhi Bhakti. His bhakti was in Ragatmika Bhav. But he took shelter of chanting holy name. Mahaprabhu himself told that Haridas, now you are so old that you don't have to chant. And Haridas Thakur said, my dear Lord, how can I, not chant your name? So to preach, to emphasize the importance of Harinam, a devotee in Ragatmika mood can also take uh, the limbs of or elements of the devotional service, but also internally one is cultivating the mood of gopis and always remembering and serving Krishna's pastime, remembering Krishna Ast Kala Lila. There are 8 prahars. In 24 hours, there are 8 prahar, and each prahar is of 3 hours. So in daytime, we have 4 prahars, and in the night time, we have 4 prahars. And in each prahar, Lord did some pastime. So one who is residing at Radha Kund can internally meditate on those pastimes of Lord. And here, for sake of information, we are giving the name of those 8 prahar: Nisant Lila, pre-dawn; Pratah Lila, pastime at the dawn; Purvahan Lila, forenoon pastime; Madhyahan Lila, and Aprahan Lila. And then Syam Lila, Shan means evening, Sayam Lila. And then Pradosh Kal, the time when all the cows are coming back. And then Ratri Lila. So that's the basically process given, that one in a Ragatmika mode, externally or internally, can engage in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if one is doing that, then after giving up one's material body, one will attain an eternal spiritual body and be engaged in direct eternal service to Srimati Radharani. So the summary of the discussion is that the devotee who has attained the inner perfection, or the devotee who have perfected themselves and bring oneself to the stage where one has gopi bhav, a prakrit gopi deha. So the body might be ordinary body, but the bhav is gopi bhav. That person can reside and serve Srimati Radharani in the mood of her maid servant on the bank of Radha Kund in the divine land of Braja. So that's how the purport of the verse number 11 finishes. There are not big or purport. The purport of this particular verse Prabhupada has here almost I think 1.5 pages, something like that. Yeah, almost 2 pages. That's all. So that's how verse number 11 finishes, and it's talking about something very, very exalted. So this is the information we have. But what is the application for that information in our life? We are not there. We cannot, perceive these things. So Vrindavan is here. Every year we get chance to go, and there have been, kind of, I would say that argument. Many devotee thinks that we should not take bath in Radha Kund because she's so sublime and pure. There are so many pastimes Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada personally asked his disciple to not jump and not consider Srimati Radha Kund or Radha Kund as ordinary kunda, It should be, approached with due respect. On the other hand, there are devotees also who are residing in the Vrindavan, and they cite this particular verse, and they say that Sri Rupa Goswami has recommended that one should reside at bank of Radhakund and take bath. And when I was there in the evening, we did not take bath. We just took some water and a sprinkle around head. Me and my wife, we try to go almost every year, but from last 2 years we are not going because of the COVID. So we have not taken bath yet. But I see many devotees or many people who are residing, many Babajis, many saintly person. There are different sampradaya, different people, different understanding. They come and they very nicely get into the Radha Kund, take like 5 times deep into the water, and then they leave with due respect. So there are some discussion and argument that one should take bath in Radha Kund or not. But uh, these things that we are going through, there could be basically one very simple approach where one can approach in a very simple way, and that type of approach is not bona fide approach. It's called a sahajiya approach. And dear devotees, this sahajiya thing, don't think, don't think that this doesn't apply to us. I'm being recorded here. Uh, this applies to us also. Why it applies to us? Because we are not really taking it the way it should have been taken. Everybody has, desire to take process of bhakti, and likewise, people have multiple desires. We all have tons of desires of having good house, desires of having good family, good kids, good job, nice life, good life, and have beautiful wife and everything around us. So these are our desires, and out of all these desires that we have, name, fame, nam, puja, la, pratishtha, all of that desire that we have in our heart, we are living with those heart. And out of all those desires, there is one desire, you know, and that is the desire of spirituality. And we pursue that desire also in a way we are pursuing other part of our desire. So take the example that I have a job. So with job, my desire is that I want to perform, I want to be promoted, I want to be famous. People should, appreciate my power. People should appreciate my intelligence. So these desires are there. The similar desire is there when we are trying to advance in our spirituality. Is it right or wrong? The answer is, but it's okay. You can't say it's right, you can't say wrong also. Okay, it's okay. Why it's okay? Because because it's better than what we would be doing without what we are doing. It's okay, but is it ideal? Is it something that will help me to really advance and understand some of these deeper elements of bhakti? Don't think, although in very simple way, Sometimes we share people that chant, dance, be happy, but it's more than that. Chant, dance, and be happy. Chant and dance, of course, has to be there, but be happy. What is the real meaning of that? And once we buy this process, once we are really getting into the spirituality, then it's more than it appears on the surface level. If you are really serious and if you are really trying to advance and get things in a very, very deeper way, in a very substantial way, a process that is really going to refine you and take you to the higher stage. What should be the mood when you are on that path? Do we have the understanding of that? The answer is no. Okay, just taking something on a very superficial level, on very surface level. Yes, is it working for us? Yes, it's working for us. Are we advancing? Yes, we are advancing. But this is going to take too long. The speed, the way we are transitioning our consciousness is very, 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 very slow. Still, lot of other contamination, puja, la, pratishtha. People should know this. People should know that all of that elements are there. So, what I was trying to say is that this is one of the desire out of thousands desire we have. As we are trying to fulfill our thousands of the desire, we are also trying to fulfill one of this desire. I'm very busy on, I cannot come to the class, or I cannot have the discussion. I have so many things to do. Out of that, this is also one of the things that I'm doing. Should we take bhakti like this? What should we do? So for some of these things, there could not be right or wrong answer. There could not be yes or no type of answer. This is what something you yourself has to introspect. Nobody can help. Yes, Guru can help, Krishna can help, but you yourself has to stand up and introspect the situation that you have around you and how much you are really striving for pure Krishna consciousness. Okay, so these things that we have been talking from last 3 or 4 classes, it has been a little deeper subject, but also we have to talk. We have to talk to understand. I read all of these things. I'm sure I don't have tinge of understanding what exactly it means by having a gopi bhav. But at least by hearing that, we know that there is some bhav that I don't have today. So how I can, how I can customize my life so that I can proceed towards that pathway. So that's the basically essence of the nectar of instruction. These instructions, Mataji was asking the question, very pertinent question, very powerful question. Why? Why we have to, read these things? Why we have to know these things? Because these things will give us a process. These things will give us a pathway. This will help us understand where we are and where we have to go. This will help us understand, refine the things in our life so that slowly and slowly, as we are getting older in our Krishna consciousness, not by age, I'm not talking about the age, the years that we have spent in our Krishna consciousness, how we are refining our understanding towards everything that is floating around. So many disturbances are floating around. Sometimes I could be doing something on the name of devotion, but the intent might be something else, So all of that, if you are really super serious about Krishna consciousness, that need to be introspected, that need to be reviewed and justified. And if you are confused, then here is the Shastra, Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. These are the 3 means by which we can take the help and guide our journey towards Radha Kunda. Okay, so these are some of the thoughts I wanted to share on these verses. So that was the last verse, and I'm done. Next class, I'll review all of these verses very quickly, what they are saying, and then give you some flow, and then we'll be done with Nectar of Instruction. So with that, I would like to stop here, and I want to hear, we have solid 13 minutes. I would like to hear some of the understanding, some of your realization as we are going through this subject, how you are perceiving it, how you are seeing things in your spiritual life. Are you sparking yourself for something that you think is, my goal, something you are seeing beyond what you can, see now. So those type of things, some deeper understanding you have towards some of the topics that we discussed, please feel free to share. Correct me also if I said something that doesn't make sense to you. If there is some questions, follow-up questions, we can also talk about it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.